Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. In my last video, I talked about New Year's resolutions and how you develop a New Year's resolution that's going to work. It's going to mean something for you and it's going to have longevity. One thing I want to share with you in this video, and it is a question for you, and it's this: where do you do your best thinking? Have a think about that. Where do you do your best thinking? Because you need to know where that is, because you need to make sure that that environment is easily accessible to you, because you always want to do your best thinking. You will be your best self when you do your best thinking. And this series of videos, this whole channel is about how we make life easier for ourselves. Part of making life easier for yourself is where do you do your best thinking. For me, there's three key places. The first one is if I take a nap during the day, I tend to and my naps are 22 minutes. I say naps plural, so it's one per day, so many naps over many days maybe. Sometimes I don't get a nap. It's not hard and fast. And why is it not hard and fast? To make life easy for myself. So it's not something that I need to do every day. But just before I'm about to drop off in the nap, I will think about a problem that I need to solve. I find that quickly I stop thinking about it and I just drop off anyway. So it doesn't interfere with my sleeping. So I find that's a pretty good place to start to think about something. And maybe it helps keep it in the back of my mind and I solve the problem later. It's not the best place. Probably the third best. The second best is in the shower or the bath. I tend to do some good thinking, more so in the shower than the bath. Sometimes the bath is just too relaxing and I tend to my mind tends to wander off, but in the shower is a good way to think about things. Even a short, sharp shower, I can think about a couple of things. And I find that helpful. The other thing too is when I'm out running. Running is the single best place for me to think, and that's probably because it's uninterrupted and because I'm getting increased oxygen flow to my brain while I'm running. And so because I do all my best thinking there, and I think of a myriad of things, I take this with me. What this is maybe it's an old-fashioned tool, but it's a little voice recorder. So I just take that and I hit the record button anytime I've got a thought and I record. I hit pause. So in each track is a collection of thoughts that I have when I go out on my run. So all the collections of thoughts for each run is saved in a specific track. So when I come back from the run, I listen to that track and that's all the thoughts I've captured in that run. I act on those and then the voice recorder is good to go for the next one. Why not the phone? Because I run with a Camelback, which is a little running vest, and it has a tiny little pocket just over my chest where the pocket's quite narrow, and this slips in absolutely beautifully. And because it's got an on and off button that's tactile, I don't have to look at the screen. I can click the button and I'm recording my thought, and then I click it again and it pauses, and then when I click it again it unpauses and it's recording. So I find it easier than my phone. Sometimes I don't run with the phone, I'll just run with this, and of course when I've got my full vest then I will throw the phone in the back as needed. But this is the point. That's where I do my best thinking. So if I've got a problem and I'm struggling to solve it at my desk, then I don't solve it at my desk. I take it out for the next run with me, especially if it's something I can solve over the next couple of days. It's not time critical to be done now. There have been times where I needed to solve a problem by the end of the day, and I just put my shoes on, went for a run and took the problem with me and just thought about it during the run. And I can offer you this: either I solve the problem during the run or I work out how I'm going to be able to solve the problem during the run. Running has never failed me. I say never. I can't think of a circumstance where it has, but look, let's be safe. Let's say it's very rarely failed me. So the key is this: where do you do your best thinking? I did a survey on LinkedIn and I got a huge number of responses. And I asked people, where do you do your best thinking to do with work? So when you're at work, where's your best thinking, or what environment does it occur? And what I was expecting is for them to talk about the workplace and what environment suits them best. Sometimes in some workplaces, what I found is I went to a different floor to do some thinking because people on that floor didn't know me. I didn't get distracted as much as I was on the other floor. But over 75% of responses in that survey said that their best thinking occurred outside of work. So it was while they're on a bike ride or in a shower or on the train, on the way to work or on the way back. And I thought that was fascinating, that the work environment, the dynamic, the atmosphere, perhaps the culture isn't set up in a way to elicit the best thinking during work. The environment must be better outside of work to have the better thinking outside of work. So there's something significant in that. The question that you need to answer for yourself, and only need to answer for yourself, is where do you do your best thinking? It's different for everybody, but as long as you're consciously aware of what environment helps you think best, the best way that you can think, and there must be a better way of wording that, right? Be cognizant of that and foster or support that environment as much as you can. So something I'm really conscious of. And as I say, like all of these videos, if there's something good in it that you can steal to make life easier for you, do that. I know it's not easy. If your best thinking, for example, is not in an open floor environment and you are in an open floor environment, then where do you do your best thinking, and how can you mimic that as closely as you can during the workday? That's a problem for you to solve, but firstly, know where you do your best thinking. And no point, I think, doing your best thinking if you're not capturing it. And because while I'm on the run, I don't want to stop. I don't want to stop to write things down. I want to capture it on the fly. I want to capture it as quickly as I can after I've had the thought, because I've had lots of times where I thought, hey, I'll remember that, and then I know I didn't. I'll remember that I thought of something, but I won't remember what that thing was specifically that I thought of. So the cruel irony where you can remember that you've forgotten something. And that's why I have this voice recorder, to capture those thoughts as soon as I think of them. Now, of course, when I go through the voice recorder when I'm back home, some of those thoughts aren't that great. I've had a chance to settle, had the dust settle on them, think them through, and I put it down to oxygen deprivation while I'm on my run. Not enough oxygen in the brain in that particular moment. That thought that I thought was great then isn't so, but at least it's had that filter. I've captured that thought and then I've reevaluated that thought and I thought I can let it slide. It's not important, or I've since thought of a better strategy. But my rule is always take something with me, because I do my better thinking while I'm out on the run. Voice recorder, absolutely. But before the voice recorder came along, I had old business cards that had just were printed on white cardboard, so they were blank on the back, and I took those, small enough to fit in my pocket, firm enough with 3 or 4 of them that they as a stack became firm enough to write on. And I wouldn't stop to write. I just write while I was running. The handwriting was pretty messy, but usually it was enough to remind me when I got back home what it was, what that thought was, and I was able to capture it then. So you don't need a voice recorder. Find other ways of capturing it. And if you've got an app on your phone that's on the home screen and really accessible and you love using it, perfect. That's even better, I suppose, because then you don't need to double up anyway. If you want to see my video on New Year's resolutions, I'm going to pop that up on this end screen so you can click through to that. But that made me think about, well, when we're thinking about our New Year's resolutions, and it's not too late to define yours, let's think about that. And then that, of course, led to where can we do our better thinking? And that's what this video is about. Okay, I think I'm going to click over about 10 minutes. But think about, only take a couple of moments to think about where you do your best thinking. And then of course, once you've got that answer, how do you make sure you're in that environment frequently for as long as you need to be? Frequently, I'd say you're looking at daily. For as long as you need to be, that's up to you, whether it's 10 minutes or an hour or whatever. But yeah, think about where you do your best thinking and then how you capture that thinking as you have those good ideas to make sure they're not lost. Okay, take care and Happy New Year. We've just clicked over to 2024. Get excited about this year. Take care. Talk to you soon.